All right, guys. Not many times we get a over 150 point move in a day. Today is one of those days. We had the Federal Reserve FOMC meeting at 1 o'clock Central Time, and typically that does lead to big moves to the upside or downside. This past meeting a month ago, it was a little confusing where it was chopping up, down, and probably just chopping and stopping everybody out. But we got some pretty good continuation today, and let's go ahead and break that down. Before the day, we had supply side or supply zone on the 45-minute chart at 41.83, and this was stuck in this area all day yesterday. You can see this clear 45-minute zone, right? Yesterday we touched it once, twice, three, four, five, and then overnight a couple times, and we just couldn't break it. You also had 4,200 psychological level, right on the upper end of that supply zone, which probably didn't help. Show you on the 5-minute chart. This was yesterday, just stuck, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. So you could have probably got some pretty good, a few different shorts off of that yesterday. So that's the big supply zone that I wanted to break. Above that, we had another 45-minute at 42.13, and then a few 3 hours here. Actually, this is a 90-minute. We had a 3 hour here at 42.44. There you go. And a 90-minute at 42.82. And on top of that zone, on the 90-minute, we just have clear resistance. Backtrack. We've stopped right over 4,300. I think it's like 4303.5. Stopped here once, stopped here twice to the tick. As you can see today, we hit 4303 right on the money and couldn't break over it. So we'll see if we can get over that tomorrow. But anyways, I wanted to show all four of these supply zones because going into the day, I was looking at all four of them. Usually I'll look at just the top two above me, but knowing that we have that FOMC meeting at 1 o'clock, there are some crazy moves that come out of it, so I want to prepare for the craziest scenario. On the demand side, we didn't have a whole lot, so we have a pretty good 90-minute demand zone at 40.96, and then not much below that. We got an iffy, I wouldn't even call it iffy. I mean, it's not a demand zone down here at 41.40. No clean structure, but you have this gray box here that's grayed out, and I draw those for support and resistance zones. I won't trade off them, but just want to be aware where stocks or price has bounced previously, and just acting as a support zone. And this is a clear one. We haven't really been able to break below 41.40 for a couple days after today. Consolidated in there yesterday, then late yesterday, and then earlier this morning we'll get into. So on the demand side, right under 4,100. Other than that, to have the support zone here that starts at 41.55, goes down to 41.40. All right, so we have overnight highs 41.91, overnight lows at 41.67, and we opened up a little bit under the 45-minute zone at 41.83. And right off the get-go, sellers took control. Brought it down to 41.68, the overnight lows, right? Tried to balance off of this. Had about 15 minutes of an upward consolidation here before they yanked it back down. You can see it better on the 5-minute chart. Pretty good fall here, down into this support zone. From here, I'm not looking to enter. In the support zone, what I wanted to see, which is actually what we got, is a demand zone get created out of it and then come back and retest it. As we came down here, like I said, we were in the support zone, consolidated here for about an hour and a half. And before lunchtime, before 12 Central, we ripped up into this 45-minute supply zone again. And in the process of that rip, right at noon Central Time, when this 90-minute candle closed, we created a 90-minute demand zone. So I'm going to draw that out. Boom. 90 minute. All right, so I was kind of shocked to see that, see such a big move. You know, with 41.45, almost a 40, 50 point move before the 1 o'clock meeting. Typically, it just consolidates and kind of balances it within a 20 point range leading up to the meeting. But got a pretty good move out of it, which I don't want to go biased, but obviously that makes you lean towards the long side, and you think the meeting is going to go well. But you know, I've seen the craziest things when these meetings go off at 1 o'clock. So I easily still could have seen it just fall right through that demand zone and trick everybody out. Anyways, we do have this for somewhat of protection leading up to the meeting. Right at 1 o'clock, we're sitting inside this supply zone. Get a closer look on the 1 minute chart. Here's us coming out of that 90-minute demand zone as was created. Little touch off of overnight highs here, right to the tick. Come back down, and we're getting to 1 o'clock. So usually during these meetings, or right when they start, you know, you'll get a couple fake outs, one to the downside, one to the upside. You know, when I first started following this, it was usually only like, you know, one trick to the downside and then rip up. It seems like it's just the past couple of meetings, just up, down, and you just don't really know what's going to go on until you get a clear break in one direction. And for the first 30 minutes, that's what happened. We went up, we went through the supply zone. So let's go ahead and get that out of here. Started coming back down. Now we're touching this 90-minute demand zone. Got a decent bounce off it to 4,200 psychological level. Made a lower high from this initial rip, and then came back down again. And now we are back into this 90-minute demand zone, and we're deeper into it. That's enough to invalidate it for me. You know, on these crazy days where it's so volatile, you know, I can see it's probably still a good entry. You're in the support zone. You're in this new 90-minute demand zone. Didn't clearly break. You see some crazy moves off of it, so still can be a good play. If you're looking at the 1 minute chart, you probably could have got a decent entry off of it. As always, I wait for a higher low on the 5 minute chart. We didn't get that. But as we made this low right below 41.50, you saw some heavy volume come in. You see some low 1 minute selling right here, makes a higher low, little 1 minute basing candle, and then rips up above overnight highs and over the highs of 42.07, which was the initial rip right at 1 o'clock. All right, so this is 30 minutes after. This is when the Federal Chair the Fed chair is having a press conference about their release, and he starts saying some, I guess, bullish stuff that they're not going to rate, or they're not going to increase rates as quick or as much as they anticipated. And so that's kind of what really had this start to take off a little bit. You know, it's just coincidence that happened to be in this demand zone, but that's usually how it works. You know, they say price precedes news. This is a perfect example. We're in a demand zone. Hard to go short because price precedes news, right? Next thing you know, the Fed chair is talking about raising rates a little bit slower, and we rip up from there. And from here, it's just a straight uptrend. You know, if one of your strategies is playing the trend, probably not the worst time to get in once it breaks up above these highs. It breaks up through this 45-minute supply zone like it wasn't even there. All right, that's a good sign. And we get this nice, look at this, how low the 1 minute selling is. Get this nice little first base kind of over previous resistance, now becoming support. And then we take off from there. So that could have been a decent entry. I did not take an entry off of that, but wouldn't have been too bad. And from there, it's just more of a gradual uptrend. After you get these moves, typically they will continue upward in that direction. You'll get some continuation off of it. And at this point, you know, we're in this next 3 hour supply zone at 42.44, but not really getting much rejection off of it. I mean, you have some selling coming in, but on the 5 minute chart, you don't see it. On the 5 minute chart, selling is low. On the 1 minute chart, you know, you'll see some increased selling, but you know, we're not really making clear lower lows. Definitely not making lower highs. So there's no reason to short that. I'm sure people still attacked it because they thought, it's too high, it's overbought from here, whatever it may be, and that probably is just more fuel for the fire as we continue up. But we're breaking through this 3-hour supply zone. That's gone, and just keep on going up. Like I said, at this point, it's probably going to continue, and I'm not even thinking about shorting until we create a new supply zone on at least a 15-minute chart. Come back and retest it. We weren't even close to getting that. So the uptrend just continues, and we're getting into this 90-minute supply zone at 42.82. And for the last, 30 minutes or so, small uptrend, but more of a balance area here. And as of now, it's just we closed right at about 4,300, and we almost broke this zone, but we didn't. If we go back, let's see, a couple weeks here, 43.03 is some clear resistance, right? We have one touch here, second touch here, where that supply zone was created, and we touched it to the tick today. Like I would say, I don't like to predict. I like to react to what the market gives me and what the price gives me. I like to react to how price is moving once it gets inside my zones. But, if I were to predict what I would like to see tomorrow or overnight is a clear break over this 43.03 level. To, 43.20, 43.30, and then come back down and test that 4,300 level, use it as support now that we had broken through it, and then continue up from there. That's what I would like to see, but, until we see it, it's just a prediction. But yeah, a good day today. I mean, if you were just riding this uptrend, or if you got a good bounce out of this 90-minute demand zone, you got a 150-point move out of that. With 150-point move, which is one contract of ES, is what, $7,500. And I know a lot of people trade a lot more than just one contract. So if you had the whole entire move, which is, probably, I don't know how many people had that. I would imagine people take the profits not quick, but I don't know if they're going to hold for a 150-point move. But if you did hold it for the whole move, awesome, man. That's huge right there. But yeah, so good day today. We'll see what the overnight session does. We'll see what zones we have for the open tomorrow, and I'll see you then.